Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wheel Talk, the podcast with a guy in a wheelchair and a girl in a wheelchair. What up, Brittany?
What up? Like we're, I don't know, 90s hip hop people.
What up?
Yeah, I'm great this morning. Yeah, I don't know. I had a good sleep, which is like always nice. And it's really crisp, and I've been driving Jamie to school cuz she's too wimpy to walk in the cold. So I get out in the crisp cold weather and it wakes me up. So yeah, I'm good.
Nice.
I'm
Well, on
good.
that note, we've titled this episode When Winter Shrinks Your World on the back of a video I made this week, which was a bit of a stream of consciousness video about how I feel every time the snow falls, every time it brings up feelings of just the accessible spaces that I can access just shrink. You know, everywhere the snow touches, I can't go. And we were just wanting to discuss that a little bit because it seemed to resonate with a lot of people. A lot of people were like, yeah, man, I feel the same way. So, you know, I live in a place where it snows. You live in a place where it snows.
Mhm.
Let's discuss.
Yeah. We are lucky that we haven't gotten a lot of snow yet. The amount of snow that you have is crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it like snows a lot and melts there or if it just stays all winter, but here we've been having like the most god awful rain, ice crap that I just wish it would stay cold so that it didn't get icy. But yeah, my driveway right now, like if I just like hold on to my wheels, I'll just like slide right down it. Like it's so
Oh.
crazy. Yeah, it's so icy. Which
Mm.
the roads are fine because like people when they drive on it, it tends to melt the ice. But sidewalks and driveways are brutal. There was a
Mm.
girl. She must have been like maybe 16, like just gotten her license, and she smashed into somebody when I was driving Jamie to school. So she was parked in the middle of the road with like her front bumper all messed up because it was so icy driving to school. And I was like, I'll see if she needs help when on the way back. But her mom had gotten there by that time. And I was like, oh no. Like these
Oh,
young
dear.
people just learning to drive in the snow. So it's just crappy all around. But as a wheelchair user, there's
Yeah.
so many things that I can resonate with your last video, just in terms of being a mom and being a wheelchair user and not being able to go out and enjoy this winter wonderland that everybody seems to enjoy where we live.
Yeah, yeah. That ice sounds awful. My car
Oh,
slid a little bit the other day on some slush, and it just made me think, "Oh goodness!" But it brings up so many feelings. Like when I said in the video, like, what about being a parent? You know, when I can't get the shopping out of the back of the car, what about if I have a child? You know, how am I going to get the kid in and out the car? You know, all of these logistical things that present unique problems for, you know, those of us with limited mobility, and those of us who are thinking of bringing new life into the world. It makes you think, oh, are you mental? Like, you can't do that. Is it going to put an extra burden on Chris? You know, like, because as a man, I want to be like the protector, the provider. Don't worry, I'll clear the snow, I'll do this, I'll do that. But what did happen after my videos, I got loads of beautiful, wonderful, reassuring comments from loads of people on YouTube, on Patreon, on Facebook. I shared it on Facebook. I got lots of people messaging saying, you'd be a great dad. You know, my dad was an alcoholic and he was absent and I would trade you for him any day. And I was like, oh, that's so lovely. So many
yeah.
warm comments, and just reassuring that, you know, just because you can't do certain logistical things when it comes to heavy snow, doesn't mean that you wouldn't be a good dad. And that was very reassuring. But it still does bring up a lot of uncertainty and fear and doubt, you know, when, you know, especially when you know, you want to be able to make sure your family's safe. And
Mhm.
as a man, that is, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation.
I can't really relate because, well, I can relate in a lot of the ways, but I know as a man, there's a much higher level of guilt or, you know, just around that expectation of being able to provide and protect your family, especially in situations where like, you know, your wife or your fiance, whatever, is out there shoveling heavy snow and people are like, who lives there? Like, why is that lady out there doing this all by herself? And, you know, you want to be like, I contribute too. So there's like a whole bunch
Mm.
of stuff that comes up just societally with male roles, and being in a wheelchair obviously limits those kinds of things. But I did want to chat a little bit about that because I know that you were talking about, you know, what if Chris has to take on this, you know, burden because I can't do it. And I think that like that's a slippery slope for some of us. We want to acknowledge the extra
Hmm.
things that they have to do because there's nothing worse than being with somebody with a disability and never ever getting the credit for doing some of the things that are actually harder. But also, we don't want to shift that power dynamic that's like, you're lucky to be with me because I do all this stuff for you. And that creates just a level of inequality that I think is unsafe in a relationship and ultimately leads to really bad things. So it's a thing that's great to communicate about. And Joe and I have had many, many conversations about this because a lot of the time I would get like these people that would come up to me and be like, oh my God, your husband's so amazing. Or when people would meet Joe, they'd be like, oh, your wife's in a wheelchair. You must do everything. And it would just piss me off so much that I went the other way, that I was like, I am way better in the relationship. And then Joe would be like, okay, there's some things that I actually have to do that, are because you're in a wheelchair, and not that I mind, but not acknowledging it at all is like a slap in the face sometimes, that you're just like, it doesn't require any attention or thought or effort to do these things. And so we've had a lot of conversations over the years about how to acknowledge the extra burden, if you will, but not let it change the power dynamic in our relationship, and still understanding that we are equals in our relationship. So you just like pick up some other things, if Chris is doing more of this stuff, then you're doing more of the stuff in the house that she would normally be doing when you're able to do more of the outside stuff in the summertime, like walking the dog and whatever. But it's a hard one. It's a really hard one. And there's no real good answer other than to just like, get through it and communicate. But yeah.
I know what you mean. Like those traditional roles, I would like to be like a traditional man that, can protect and provide and provide a certain a level of safety. Like even if we're out in a dodgy neighborhood, I feel like I've got a target painted on my back. And then when there's snow, I'm like, I feel useless because my neighbors have to help, and the neighbors are lovely. They don't mind helping. They understand. Like the community here is really lovely. And I got a lovely message from a friend of mine, Leanne, who just said, hey, listen, by the way, I know it's nothing like your situation, but even just pushing the pram, like they've got a newborn baby, and they're like, just pushing the pram outside is such a ball ache. Like we're hibernating as well, just to let you know, we're hibernating as well. It's not the same. I know. I'm just saying, a little bit of solidarity. Your video really vibed with me. Just saying winter's hard, and we're kind of, not in the same boat, but, I feel you. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's really nice. And she also reassured me that I would be a good dad as well. And so, yeah, it's been a wildly popular video that's resonated with a lot of people. I always can tell if it resonates with people. It's not about the amount of views it gets, but the amount of comments comments from people that, there's the comments that like, the regular people that always comment, and I love that. I love that we've got like a regular, but then you get comments from people that you've never seen before, and you're like, oh wow, and they like drop a comment saying, oh, thanks for all your videos, and I'm like, oh, you must have seen loads of videos, but this is the first time you've commented, and that makes it really like a poignant video that's really resonated with a lot of people, and I thought it was great that it's a great thing to talk about, because like I say, it's mostly goes unsaid.
Yeah, totally. I wanted to circle back a little bit to the thing that you were talking about where the lady commented about the stroller. So I have a question for you, and I'll tell you my opinion after. I just want to get your opinion. Do you enjoy or do you appreciate when somebody tries to relate to you, even if they don't have the exact situation, they don't have a disability, but they try to relate to you, and that it's challenging as a new mom to push a stroller outside? Do you like that? Do you appreciate that? Or do you think to yourself, yeah, that is not anything the same, and or what do you think? I'm just curious.
Well, I know her personally, and she did a lot of like metaphorical throat clearing beforehand. Like, I know it's not the same. I'm just, so I knew, and she even apologized, saying it was one of those classically British things, like, I'm really sorry, I know this isn't the same as your situation, but it's also really hard to, so I like just pushing the wheels along the snow is, and I can only imagine what it's like in your wheelchair. So she was saying it's not quite the same, but I can only imagine what it's like, when you can't get out of the, so it was, I really didn't mind, but I know what you mean if someone says, oh, because it's common when people push a pram, they see how things, the world isn't built to roll on, especially in certain situations. So that is quite a common thing when people try and push a wheelchair, push a pram or a buggy. They say, "Oh, wow!" Then they notice.
Yeah. I actually really love it when people try to relate to me, even if it's wildly different. Like if somebody says, I spent 2 weeks in a wheelchair once when I broke my ankle, I know what it's like. And I know that not all of the time that comes across as very genuine or, you know, even really helpful, but I do appreciate when people try to relate to me, because I think that's the only way we can actually learn, is by making comparisons and seeing where something that we're experiencing might be similar to something that somebody else is experiencing. And a stroller is actually very similar. It's annoying to push. It's like pushing a wheelchair. And having a new baby is almost like having a disability. You have to manage bowel and bladder. Like you have to do all of these things for another human being. It's so similar. And it's funny because I was just at a thing with my sister-in-law who had a new baby. So my nephew was like, they came to visit to do an event with me. And the event only had one bathroom with a change table. So she was waiting in this long line and she was just like, all these people that didn't need that bathroom were pissing me off. And I was like, yeah, me too. And so we were relating to each other so well with having a newborn baby and being in a wheelchair. Because I'm like, she's dealing with all the same stuff I'm dealing with, except for another human being. But it's pretty good. I think it's good when people try to relate, and especially new motherhood is very similar to disability, and not in the same exact way, but in a lot of the ways.
You know, you make a really good point there. I'd never seen the parallel between having a baby and having a disability. But yeah, the bowel, bladder, nappies, incontinence products, wheels, like inconvenience. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities there, which I'd never joined the dots before, but that's an astute observation. I like that. Yeah. But then that's what makes me so nervous, because I've already got a disability. Do I want to, hinder myself even further by getting, even more disabled with a baby?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, watching all the moms at this, because we went to Disney on Ice. So I don't know if anybody's like a Disney on Ice fan, but I loved figure skating like as a kid. And my sister-in-law actually invited me to go. And I was like, yes, I'm definitely going. So we were there. And all these moms with little kids and babies trying to change them in this awkward situation because it's a brand new event center and they have the one bathroom with one change table. Like what? So they were trying to figure out how to change their kid in places that weren't really accessible to them. But I always had a lap. And so when my kids were babies, I figured out how to change their diaper right on my lap. I didn't need any change table or anything like that. So there's some things that are easier as a wheelchair user. Like I always had like my stroller with me. So I didn't have to carry another piece of equipment or try and figure out how to push it. I just had to have like a baby carrier, like like one of those ones you strap to your chest. And then eventually a seatbelt. I took all of my kids' stuff in my backpack, so I wasn't carrying 2 bags. And it was almost easier because I always had a lap for my kids to be on rather than trying to hold them in my arms or whatever. So yeah, I think that there are some things that like the wheelchair makes easier for parenting that kind of equal out some of the pains in the butt. But yeah, it is really interesting how similar they are. And it does add a level of complexity when you are in a wheelchair. But I don't think that should scare you away. And I had my kids in September and October. So they were newborns all through winter. And I actually prefer that timing because you are kind of like just shut in when the kids are little. You're not going out lots of places. And then by the time they can walk and toddle around, then it's summer and then winter again when they're, pretty proficient on their legs. So yeah, you'll be fine. And groceries are, I don't know there, but we have like click and collect or grocery delivery. I don't know if you have that there.
We do have click and collect, yeah. But that was another thing that Leanne was saying, was she was saying when you have a baby, you stay in all the time anyway. So you might think that, having a disability, the world gets smaller. She's like, having a baby, the world gets smaller. Like we don't go out, not just because of the snow, but because this little baby is my entire world right now. You know what I mean? Like what's the point in going out and doing stuff? Like this, she takes up all of our time. And I thought, so it was really nice that she was just reaching out and just saying, don't worry, like most of the time is going to be spent indoors, and that's your comfort zone anyway. So it was a really lovely, thing to reach out and sort of comfort me with, because it is scary, But yeah, I like the things that you said as well. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, how do you get So the car seat, right? The car seat goes in the passenger seat. So how do you get your wheelchair in?
Okay, so when my kids were little, I had a very specific van set up that was amazing. And I had it before my kids were born. It just ended up being really amazing. So I had something called a super arm lift and a van that didn't have any middle seats. So it had a back bench, no middle seats. And then the super arm lift is like a lift that's just an arm. And then it has two straps that you keep on your wheelchair, which is kind of annoying, but they just hook to the thing and then it swings you in like you're loose. You just press a button and then you can go in that way. So
You drive from your wheelchair?
no, I did not drive from
Oh,
my wheelchair. So the driver's seat turned backwards
like a
through
yeah.
it was like a 6-way power seat. It would turn backwards, I would transfer, and then I would turn front ways, and then I would lock my chair in, which at the time I didn't have any actual way to like lock my chair in place. So it just had the brakes on. So if we ever got into an accident, it probably would have been terrible. But luckily I didn't ever get into an accident. But so the car seats always just stayed in the car. And then I would bring the kids with me on my lap or in like the baby carrier on my chest. And then once I got in the car, I had the car seat. I turned the car seat around, strapped them in, turned it back, buckled the car seat up. So most car seats now are like they can go on a base that just clips in, but they can also just be buckled in with the seat. Like there's a mechanism or method to do that. So I always just buckled it in. So like I would put the seatbelt around where it was supposed to go and buckle it in, tighten it up, and then we would go that way. And then yeah, so I had 2 car seats on the back, and that's just how I made it work.
Do you happen to have any videos of that on your channel?
No, but I probably have. I have like a picture, one picture of me with Jamie on my lap getting in my car. I'll see if I can find it really quick because it's like in my family photos things. But yeah, it's like a really good setup. And my other friends have ramp vans when they have kids, but a lot of people just put their kid in the side of an SUV or whatever. And there's a new car seat that actually like swivels sideways so that you can turn it sideways, put your kid in, then swivel it backwards, frontwards, whatever you need to do. It's an expensive car seat, but if I were paralyzed now and I had a car that I couldn't get in all the way like I did before, then I would get that car seat, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of people like Chelsea Hill has a baby and she has an SUV, so she shows how she does it. But the kids usually go on the back, not on the passenger seat here, because kids aren't actually allowed to be in the front seat here until they're 9 years old or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I feel like this. I think perhaps if we did have a child, I would maybe think about getting a different vehicle, or maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess there's lots of things that I'd have to find solutions to before. I'd probably be proactive about solving the problems before they came up. But yeah, it's very interesting. Like some of the things I've seen, it seems really awkward getting my because I get in the wheelchair and I put the wheelchair in the passenger seat. So where would I put the child? Would I put the kid behind me? And what if it was crying or it needed something? And what if we were in an accident? Like, oh my God, if we were in an accident, and then you have to try and, you would feel so useless. There's just so many things that's been going through my mind since the snow. Like,
yeah, you really can't, like, you cannot think about that stuff. My mom, like, my mother-in-law actually, and she was like, just, trying to help or, think, how is my daughter-in-law going to do this with my grandchildren? She would ask that. How are you going to get the kid if he runs out in traffic? How are you going to get the baby in an accident? How are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea, but I will figure it out. And I know that like Jamie choked once when she was like 4 and she was on the ground and I don't have tummy muscles, but I lifted that kid up onto my lap and gave her like the Heimlich and saved her life, So you will do mostly what your adrenaline and your like brain power allows you to do at the moment, within reason, but you can't think about that stuff. I just stopped doing things that were unsafe. I always have a way to access my phone when I'm in the car. Now it's even worse because I can't even get to the back of my car. So I'm super worried about my kids. Even now, like Jacob's 17, if he's riding in the back, starts choking, I can't even get back there. I'll figure it out, I guess. But
why would he start choking?
I don't know. We were on a road trip. This isn't funny. I was bringing the kids back from a road trip 2 years ago from British Columbia, and it's like a 12-hour drive or something like that. He was eating a poutine, and if anybody knows what a poutine is, stupid thing in Canada with cheese and gravy. So melt the cheese curds, and he got it like he was choking on the cheese, and I was like, oh my God, I was like freaking out. And then he ended up just like puking it all up. But he was just right beside me. And I was like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know. I'm out of, I don't know what to do. So yeah. And now he's not allowed to eat poutines in the car.
Yeah. Well, I guess if he's already choked a little bit in the car, sometimes I feel like sometimes the stuff that you worry about like is quite comical, because I'm like, the chances of that happening are so slender. But then I sometimes think about scenarios that are so hypothetical, like, oh, what if I have a kid and then I'm in the car and then this happens. And so yeah, I do understand. And to be honest, if once you have children, you start worrying about them way more than you think that you will do, like before you have children, is what I've been told by so many people. Like, you don't know until you have children, like you will constantly worry about them. And I've started to worry even before I've had. I'm like,
I'm telling you, there is no comprehension really until you have a kid, and then you realize all of the invasive, intrusive thoughts that happen about crazy shit. I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning the other night when I had to get up early in the morning because Jacob was at his girlfriend's, who lives in the next city over. It's like 15-minute drive, but still. And he was coming home later, and I was like, I'm going to go to sleep. He's fine. I don't need to. He'll wake me up when he gets home. And no, couldn't do it. I just had all these stupid thoughts that I'm like, what if he tries to call and I don't wake up at his call? What if blah, 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 blah. And so I still, he's like going to be an adult, a full adult next year. And I still am like, it's crazy. But the choking thing is really bad because my brother as a child choked probably like 10 times. And it was really scary. And so I'm primed to think that children choke all the time. Like my brother choked on bacon. He swallowed like a metal ball once when we were home alone. Jesus. He choked on a hard candy. Like that kid choked on everything. So I'm just like, yeah, really paranoid about it. Even when I teach, if a kid makes like a sound, I'm like, nobody make choking sounds while I'm supervising lunch. I'm like, that's a no-no. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, that's funny. Intranet Kalitz says, you will worry about the kids until the day you die. Well, yeah, my mum still worries about me, and it annoys me so much. But on the subject of choking, I've been choking a little bit lately, only because I don't chew my food properly, and like sometimes I'll swallow something. Like for example, today I was eating some chicken, and I swallowed it, and it was still attached to the skin. So I was like, because like, it was. So then Chris was like, "Oh my god! Every time you do that, you scare me. Like you're gonna choke. I need to learn the Heimlich maneuver." I'm like, "Well, maybe it is a good idea to learn the Heimlich, but I'm fine. I'm just swallowing something that I'm still chewing."
I do that. I did that the other day with spinach, and it was like half down my throat, half in my mouth, and it's like dangling back there, and it's like gagging you, and you're not really choking. Oh my god! Just the mental picture of you choking on that, like, but not really choking. I don't know why that was so funny to me. You almost made me choke on my teeth. But it's really funny.
Getting back to the topic of winter.
Yeah.
I had this feeling recently of like feeling guilty of every time it snows. Everyone gets excited here, and I get the opposite. So I think it's quite common. Like you could probably relate to that. But because I live in a ski resort or a ski town, right? It's a little village at the bottom of a ski resort. Every business thrives on the winter season. So if it snows, we get more customers, more clients. The chalets are full. My girlfriend, she can cook for more people. The restaurants are full of people. Every business here survives when the snow falls. The winter here basically keeps the resort running all year round, right? The winter is the busiest time of the year by far. It's the most popular time of the year to come to Morzine. But every time it like rains or anything, or the weather changes, and it does, I'm like, yes, and it's the complete opposite. And I feel guilty because every time the winters get milder and milder, it works in my favor. But I remember, whenever it snowed, I would get so excited, and I see people getting excited, and I have like this opposite reaction. So I just wondered if you could relate to that at all. I mean, I know you don't live in a ski resort; you just live in a very
Yeah.
cold place. But I don't know. It's interesting how, you know what I mean. Like the snow is necessary. Like we none of us would survive here without the winter season. Like and all the tourism it brings.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I despise it.
I think to be honest, for the longest time, I've sort of like been neutral about the snow because I most of the time have a garage that I can park in, that my vehicle, I don't have to like, brush off or anything. And then whenever I go somewhere, it's like somewhere where there's people. So if I'm going to the store, even if it's like crazy snow and they haven't plowed yet, I'm like, I'm just going to go. Somebody will help me in. And I just take that for granted that I'm going somewhere that the other people are going to sort of help me.
Hmm.
But if I didn't have a garage, I think I would be really frustrated. Even this morning, like I have to remember to start my car and make sure the heat's on inside so that I can defrost the windows and all the snow melts on my windshield because I can't brush it off. And all of that stuff. So I have to really think about it because Joe's been doing woodworking projects in the garage and I haven't been able to park in there at all this winter yet. So but I do see what you mean about like the feeling guilty because I don't have a guilt like for when there's a mild winter. I'm just like, great. And everybody here is mostly great, thinks it's great too, because we drive longer distances here just to get places. Most people work like either live in the town I live in, but work in the city. So everybody's driving on highways all the time. And so a mild winter is much better and safer for all of the people driving. And here we just make like it's not like a resort. So the ski hills will make artificial snow. People will still ski as much as they normally do. Obviously people will ski more if there's more snow, but yeah, so I don't have that like guilt necessarily, but I am curious why you stay there. And I know that you've said before you love the community and all of that stuff, but is there not like a place that has milder winters that's still a great community? I'm
That's
like,
so interesting. Someone else commented the exact same thing. Have you thought about living somewhere warmer?
yeah,
The answer is yes. And Chris has mentioned it because she's from Spain. And she's
that's what
like
I'm
that.
saying. Like she's literally from a hot place.
Yeah, but I don't speak Spanish. I speak French, you know, and I don't. I like the community here. I've got my friends here. It's a very nice place. Everyone here, like when I go elsewhere, for example, I was talking about this the other day. I went back to the UK. All of a sudden, everyone looks so unhealthy. They're like overweight. They've got like mobility scooters, you know, teeth missing. It just looks like, what the hell? Like, honestly, it was
Yeah.
really quite a shock because everyone here, I take it for granted, everyone here is in good shape. It looks like everyone goes to the gym. Everyone's sporty, skiing, hiking, biking. Everyone here is just fit and healthy. And I just forget that isn't normal. So when I go to the UK and stuff and I look around like big cities and I see people that look very unhealthy, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like, and it's just weird. There's like a young, thriving dynamic here in this town, which I'm really drawn to, you know. And
Yeah.
there's a nice, friendly community. It's lovely. And yes, it snows for 5 months of the year, but the other 7 months of the year are fantastic. It's beautiful. You know, there's like mountains and sunshine and trees and nature and it's lovely, even though I don't really get to experience that nature as well as I used to. And we can talk about that later. I'd really like to chat about that. But yeah, I like living here because that's, you know, there's so many reasons why. But yeah, Chris has mentioned it. Like, we could live anywhere. Why here? You know, she's like, you don't even see your friends that often. And I'm like, yeah, but.
Yeah. It's a lot of work to move too. It's like you have to go find the place, you have to figure out where you're going to live. Chris would have to figure out employment, all that stuff. So it's like a challenge for sure. But there's, especially in Europe, like there's so many wonderful places to live. Like Portugal is beautiful, Spain is beautiful. Like there's so many nice places that are warmer, that are arguably very healthy, you know, lifestyles, I would think. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that you have to decide for yourself, I guess. And here I'm the same way. Like I Joe's been offered jobs in the United States a few times because the company that he works for is a global company. It's actually, the head office is in Portugal. So there's like lots of places he probably could go, but I'm just like, eh. And I actually really like when we get big dumps of snow because I love the way it looks. And Christmas is my favorite season. I love that aspect of it. I love the Christmas lights. Like everybody has Christmas lights here. And, you know, I like the coziness of it and all of the like pumpkin spice, everything. And just the giving that people do. One of the things that we do at Christmas time is like we help either a family in need or some sort of charity or something. So I look forward to that every year, and the wintertime is just sort of a signal that that's going to happen. There's just a lot of things I like. I like sit skiing, cross country sit skiing, not downhill. So I like that for exercise. There's lots of things about winter that I think I enjoy. Now that my kids are older, it's much easier. I can take them to like a toboggan hill and just sit outside in my car, that kind of stuff. But there's certain things that are like, I was going to mention, if you do have, you know, a child, one of the things that's like easier in a wheelchair in the winter is teaching them to skate because you have like, you're the push thing.
Yeah.
You are the push thing. So it's like nice for that. You can go teach your kid how to skate by yourself. You don't have to like hold them up. They just hold onto your handlebars and give her around. And the ice is really accommodating to a wheelchair. You're on rubber tires. So yeah, if you go too fast or something, you can slip around. But so that's one activity that's really nice as a parent in a wheelchair. Not that my kids really like to skate, but yeah, there's certain things that you can make winter nice about. So I suppose if you live in a place that you like the community, it's worth putting up with the winter, especially if you have people that can help.
Yeah, like I say, my neighbors are very friendly. Everyone here is super friendly. Like we've got a little Facebook page, and every time I put something on there, like for help, people are all like, "Oh, you know, help the wheelchair guy." I mean, that could probably translate in other small towns and stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it here. I've lived here a long time. You know, you just get you part of the community. Like I've got French lessons at the moment, and everyone that come in the French school, they're like, "Oh, hey Fred," and my French teacher this morning, she was like, "Oh, you seem to know everyone here. How long have you lived here?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So anyway, I wanted to bounce back to the nature thing because I was having these thoughts recently. Because Chris was saying how one of the things that came up at the retreat that we were at earlier on this year was that I've been disconnected from nature. And, you know, Chris loves foraging for mushrooms, you know, going out and exploring in the woods. And there are ways that we can get out in nature, but they're just not the same. And I know that it might sound like it's a bit of an excuse, but honestly, yes, there are like adaptive mountain bikes where we can go around, but it's just not the same. I don't know if you ever feel it, like crunching the leaves with, you know, between your feet, you know, going out and foraging and looking and being in nature isn't quite the same as just being a spectator, like being pushed somewhere and be like, oh yeah, cool, I'm here, but I'm sat here, I'm still in my wheelchair or some sort of adaptive thing, but I'm not really experiencing nature like I used to be able to experience nature, climb a tree, you know, hug a tree, put my bare feet on the grass. All those things, they really contribute to the experience of nature. So getting out in nature is one thing, but sitting in nature and sort of being a spectator, you know what I mean? You're still kind of sitting on the sidelines a little bit. And I just wanted to discuss that with you. Like, am I using that as a poor excuse, or does it feel different, or does it genuinely feel different? You know, like, how do I get in touch with that, you know, that side of it?
I 100% relate to that, like 1000% actually, because there is no replacement for, like, one of the things I always say, if I had like a fairy godmother that's like, you can walk for however long, what would you do? One of the things that I loved to do is like crunch leaves, like you said, crunch leaves or fresh fallen snow, just like that crunch with your footprint, like that kind of stuff. Or when I was a kid, I loved to, if it was like really snowy and it was like kind of crunchy on top, I would see how I could stay on top of the snow, almost like with snowshoes, and not actually sink into it, like spread my weight out. Like I would do weird things like that, that it's just a fun way to enjoy nature. And it's like a playground, and it's all it is just like snow. So there's just things like that that you can't replace. And there's things like trail riders and things like that that allow people to carry you up mountains, and they're like, oh, I hiked this mountain. I'm like, you did not. You were piggybacked up a mountain. Stop saying you hiked it. Like, it just, that pisses me off so much. Like, you didn't do shit. You were, you know, a bystander. And one of the people that I love, actually, he's on TikTok. His name is Nevin something. He was paralyzed a couple of years ago, but he's got a great great content like on TikTok. And one of the things that he said recently was that it goes from being in the movie, like being the main character in the movie, to watching the movie. Like that's what a wheelchair does for you. And it's so accurate. Like you are no longer the character in the movie. You're just kind of in watching the movie. And not that you don't participate in it, but like the movie, just like watching a movie, you get all the feelings, you go along with the character, and there's lots of things you can go along with and get those ups and downs and joy and gratitude and all that stuff. But you're not the character, you're not the main character anymore. And it's just something you have to accept, which if you think about it long enough, like you're just like, oh, that's like oppressive, but it's there, it's real, and it's yeah, sometimes takes over.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that resonated with you. It's just, again, I don't want to like. I normally try to focus a lot on gratitude and things that there's loads of things to be grateful for, but there's also some things to acknowledge. Like it is different. Being in nature isn't the closest thing I get to that feeling is swimming in the lake.
Yeah.
When I'm swimming in the lake, my body is free. I can express, like, I'm not in the wheelchair, so I'm like, woohoo, I can swim on my back, I can swim on my front. I look up, there's glorious cliffs, there's mountains, there's blue sky, there's trees, there's the breeze. Even in the swimming pool, I feel more in nature than when I'm sometimes in nature. You know what I mean? Like just because I'm in the woods, I'm still sat in my chair. But yeah, that's the closest feeling I've got is swimming in the lake, and I love it. But it's still not the same. Like you can roll around. Like I can't really roll around on the grass because it's very uncomfortable. I have to like have a padded mat to sit on, and that sounds just so lame. But like you do because it hurts. I've got feeling in my legs, and they don't like being sat on the.
Yeah.
Even if there's like little stones and stuff, it's uncomfortable. So yeah.
And we have to worry about. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, even when I'm not in my wheelchair, it feels uncomfortable unless I'm in a body of water.
Yeah.
It's just that freedom of movement. It's just so restrictive.
Even just being like going, say you're on a wheelchair accessible-ish trail in your wheelchair or some other, bike or adaptive mountain bike or whatever. And you like look to the woods, like to the left, and there's something in there that you're like, oh, that's cool. I want to go check that out. But it's like tree. You can't do that. If you're able-bodied, you could just be like, oh, I'm going to hop off my bike. I'm going to, step into the woods and, shimmy my body around till I get to that thing that looks cool. And I want to pick that flower or check out that bird's nest or whatever it is. You can't do that now. And it's just like, oh, it's so annoying. Really frustrating. And a lot of people, like I know a lot of people choose concrete jungle after they're paralyzed because it's just easier. It's easier to be surrounded by concrete and other things that make, cities beautiful and architecture and stuff than it is to be around nature. But it's definitely challenging. And I did want to address this because in your video, I actually talked to Joe about this. I said you kept sandwiching gratitude with acknowledging the pain. And I was like, it's funny that we do that all the time, especially when we are like live in Western cultures where we're like, we don't have the right to feel shitty about anything, no matter what our circumstances are, because there's starving people or whatever. And I think it's a bad habit we've gotten into where we can't even acknowledge the things that are actually genuinely hard and frustrating without being like, oh, but wait, I'm speaking from a place of privilege. So, and you did that so much in your video, which I was like, I love because I don't want people to forget to be grateful. But there is also times where we just have to sit with that like oppressive sort of like nature of disability and be like, this is heavy and hard and sad and frustrating and really annoying. And like seriously, I sometimes say like able-bodied people can go fuck themselves and they're, taking everything for granted and all that stuff. And sometimes that's just how you feel. But then, the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, I actually really like that able-bodied person because they helped me out and I wouldn't be able to be in a wheelchair if I didn't have them. So they're awesome. So you have those, juxtaposition sort of feelings all the time, but yeah.
But I do want to acknowledge, like I've had this habit of acknowledging gratitude because it's just a habit I've cultivated. Like I write in my gratitude journal every day, and I have done for almost 7 years now. So it's just a habit that I've got. And I just realized my microphone was all the way over there. I'm sure you guys can hear me all right. Otherwise, you'd have said something already.
I can,
but
yeah, you're good.
So it's a habit that I've got, but it's not to sort of take anything away. It's just because I always want to acknowledge that, you know, I do have a warm home, and we do eat yummy food, and I have got, like, you know, I can have lovely cuddles, and, you know, it's lovely to be warm inside when it's cold outside, because it sucks to be, you know, it's when it's awful outside, you know, it's glorious to be indoors, you know. And so I do want to acknowledge that, but I do understand what you're saying as well. I also wanted to highlight this comment from Jay saying,
that was the one that I was just going to highlight. Yeah,
spontaneity is gone. You're absolutely right. Someone was telling me, asking me about, oh, could you get a adaptive mountain bike? And I said, yeah, you can. But no, number one, they're like about 20 grand. You need a garage, possibly a trailer. And when you, like, say if I had a place to store one, I would get in it and I would be in it all day. You can't just go somewhere and then transfer out of it, because your wheelchair, you don't carry your wheelchair around with you. The difference between going for a bike ride and taking an adaptive mountain bike out is wildly different. And I don't want it to sound like I'm making excuses, because having an adaptive mountain bike would be incredible. It would open up a huge world for me. But I remember just grabbing my bike and just going, you know, and I go anywhere I want. I could get off the bike whenever I wanted. It was just a tool that I would use to get around. It wasn't my mobility device. It wasn't my only form of transport. It wasn't like I was absolutely attached to the bike. And that is a difference. And, you know, I want to acknowledge that, you know. I don't know if anyone else feels me, because on the one hand, it's like, yeah, it's amazing these things exist, but it's just, the spontaneity is gone, you know. Like, you have to plan things, you have to take things, you can't just grab your bike and go. No. So yeah, I just want to acknowledge that.
At all. I have a friend that they do all the mountain bike trails as much as they can, because they have the rig, and I borrowed it in the summer and it was awesome. I finally got around all the trails around my acreage, and it takes such a huge amount of planning to go where they need to go, because it's not a bike. You can't just pop off and turn the bike around in a tiny little trail. Like, it needs some serious, like, you know, space to turn around. She's like got perfect at like her 5-point turns and stuff. And just like hauling that thing, it takes so much effort, because it's not a bike that, you know, you can stack in a bike carrier and put 5 of them on the back of your truck. Like, so it takes a lot of planning. It's expensive. It's when things go down with it.
Oh, you muted.
Yeah, I did mute. I don't know how that happened. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Anyway, yeah, it takes a massive amount of planning to get that freedom. So like, you have to plan to be free. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird thing. But I don't know. Yeah, it's so hard to because I'm a very, like, I always talk about positivity on my channel too. And I don't want people to be whiners. I don't want people to be whiners, because I don't think that you can live a good life in a wheelchair if you're always perpetually negative. So you have to have gratitude, but every once in a while, like, it's just nice to not be like, I'm so grateful for my hands. And like, I have one of my friends, like, she will always call me out. Like, if I am ever like, oh my God, this was hard, something, because she's more paralyzed than me. She's like, oh, it must be so hard to have those hands. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm sorry that I complained about something. And I would never do that to like an able-bodied person that's like, you know, if somebody's like, oh my God, my leg has been so sore for like 5 days, I'm never like, oh, it must be so hard having a sore leg. So I don't get that. I don't know why people do that. So I don't think it's a competition. And I think that everybody's entitled to complain about the things that are really affecting them. Without always sandwiching with gratitude. But I'm so glad that you do, because it's part of your charm and part of why everybody loves you.
I was just thinking about sometimes when I hit Chris's toes with my wheelchair. One of the things I love, because she's like, oh my God. I'm like, spatial awareness, for God's sake. Oh, does your toe hurt? Oh, it must be so bad to have a hurty toe. Come on, you'll read the room, mate. You know what I mean? Like, I just love it. I lay it on really thick.
Oh, that's really funny. I can still feel though, like that when you smash your pinky toe or something. And the other day, a kid, I don't even know who it was. I think it was my niece. She was like, or it was my nephew. That's who it was. He's like 6. And he said, I hit him with my little wheel, like my caster wheel. And he was like, oh, my toe. And he was like, imagine if you would have hit me with your big wheel. That would have hurt way worse. I'm like, actually, nobody, it doesn't. It hurts less because it's air filled and it's got like a bigger surface area. And like, so I was trying to explain to him and he was like, that's not real. If you hit something with a bigger tire, it's going to hurt more. And
Mm.
so he just couldn't believe that the caster tire would pinch your baby toe more than like the big back tire, but it
It
was pretty
does.
funny.
It
It
does.
totally does. Yeah. There's a, yeah, go ahead.
Marco was saying, Fred, can you feel pain in your legs? Great question. I
Mhm.
can. I've got a lot of sensation in my legs. I love a leg massage, a foot massage. I got a lot of good feeling. But also, when I like bang my knee, a lot of people are, when I'm like, ow, people are like, what? Like, surely you didn't feel that. I'm like, that is such a stereotype, lads. I was
Yeah.
like, you have no idea. Like, you just assume because I'm paralyzed, I can't feel my legs. But yeah, no, I can. I bashed my knee the other day really hard. And number one, I can feel it. Number two, I know that as big spasm is coming, it's like bang, and then my leg's like, and it like goes really straight, and it like wobbles, like to let me know that it's been hurt. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I know, I felt it. So I
You're
also
like,
get
thank
the,
you.
I also get the
Yeah.
feedback as well. And so yeah, it's a good question. Like I say, a lot of people just think my legs are flaccid, I don't have spasticity, and I can't feel them. They're completely numb, which is completely not true.
I know. I try to educate people about that a lot, especially little kids, because they will automatically think that everybody that's paralyzed can't feel anything from the waist down, or somebody that's a quadriplegic can't walk. And I know people that are quadriplegics that all four limbs are affected, but they can walk perfectly fine. They just have really weak legs or weak arms. So it's worth educating people on. There's a couple like random questions here that aren't like, are you going to put up a real Christmas tree or a fake one? I'm so curious about this. If you guys put up a Christmas tree there, and whether you do a real one or not.
Oh, I to be totally honest, because we've got such a small apartment now, we had this discussion the other day, like where are we even going to put a Christmas tree? So we might not even have a Christmas tree at all. We've got lots of Christmas decorations that we can put up, and we've got I think I told you this about this before, but we have the little pockets, the advent pockets, where I do like
Yeah.
little gifts and cards and jokes for her every day, and she's supposed to do the same for me in return. But you know, so yeah, we have the little, and that's a beautiful thing. But we might not actually have room for a tree. If we do, we might get a token one. You know.
That I got like, I'll try and see if I can show you the picture because I don't want to actually go get the tree, but I could carry it in here because it's so small. We got a little Grinch tree that's like an actual real tree. Can you guys see that?
That is really small.
It's tiny, and I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my living room just like we got like a new couch last year, and it's just takes up all of our living room, and I'm like either we have to take a section of the couch out and take it downstairs to put up the tree, or we just get this real tree that like we can legit plant in the ground after. So I've been like watering this. It's a real tree. So
Yeah.
I've been watering it. It's in a pot. We got a little tiny real tree last year to try and do this, but I watered it too much and then it got root rot. And I was like, what is that smell? And it smelled like rotten eggs. It was horrible. So I murdered that tree by watering it to death. I like drowned it. I was like, I didn't know you could kill a tree with water. I'm sorry. It was terrible. But so I'm not going to do that with this one. But you could get a Grinch tree like that. Just go to
Yeah.
like
A little token tree, that would be good.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's pretty fun, but yeah.
So we have another question from Marco. Do wheelchairs have winter tires? This is a really good question, and one I wanted to address, because when I put that video up, and there was obviously me struggling in like an inch of snow, that was because there was a slight incline, and going up, and my wheels were just spinning. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so many people were like, oh, why don't you get winter tires? You know, and I'm like, I know that you can get winter tires. I know that you can get big off-road tires for wheelchairs. That's not the issue. It's just I wanted to get the shopping from the back of my car. You know, I don't use big off-road tires around the house. I don't use big off-road tires around the supermarket. I don't need big off-road tires in the car. I need to just get the shopping out the back of my car. So yes, you can get knobbly tires, and I have actually ordered some Marathon Plus tires, but like they're a little bit wider. So even if they're just a little bit wider, that they might help. Who knows? If they help 10% more, it's worth it. But yeah, I don't know. Do you, I'm sure you understand exactly what I mean, right? You can get off-road tires, but it's impractical to have them all the time, even like just because there's a little bit of snow outside.
And people assume that it's like, you know, your car is always outside, so you put winter tires on once and it's great. And your shoes, you might have winter boots, but you take them off when you come in the house. And, you know, those tools are like effective because you can exchange them for the thing that works fine in your house, but we can't really exchange it very easily. And so it doesn't I've never gotten big tires. It doesn't make sense to have something way heavier, harder to clean when you go in the house, that has way more grooves that get dirty and muddy. So I'm like, nope. And until I figure out a way to like easily change my tires on my own, or would I even do that? I don't know. It just makes more sense to struggle some of the time than
Yeah.
to struggle more of the time in situations where you wouldn't need the winter tires or the off-road tires.
You make a great point. They pick up
Yeah.
way more dirt, way more
Way
ice. That they
more.
would like they would make the indoor floor. It's like you wear your winter
Yeah.
boots and they're not your slippers, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and then you say, well, why you? It's like saying, why are you wearing your slippers in the snow? You're like, yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
The slippers are not a very great tool for the snow. I know winter boots exist, but I don't want to wear my winter boots all year round,
Yeah.
or like through the house, or
Exactly.
So yeah, it's. And also obviously there's the option of getting off-road tires or like bigger tires and then different wheels, so you can just take the whole wheel off.
Yeah.
But then again, it's what do I do? Get back from the shop, go change the wheels just to get
That's
the
what I'm
shopping from the
saying.
car. It's yeah. So while I really appreciate people offering practical solutions, that's what I really wanted to address. It was a little bit frustrating because yes, I know that off-road tires exist, but that wasn't my point. Like. Yeah.
I had a question with your video. So you park forward in your driveway so that the shopping is at the bottom of the hill. Could you not park backwards so that the shopping is like, do you know what I mean? Like it's already at the top?
So I would be the other side of the car.
Oh.
And I would have to get out and then wheel all the way around in the snow. Like,
Yeah,
no, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I never really thought about it because I back into my vehicle, but when I back in, I'm on the proper side of my like garage that I need to get into. And so I don't have to wheel outside in the snow or anything to get around. It's not harder, but I was just curious about that because there's certain times that you think about the terrain and you park a certain way so that you don't have to wheel up the icy part as much, but it doesn't work in your situation. But yeah.
Great question. Jay says, or park sideways. Jay, oh my God, I would love to park sideways. Parking sideways would be amazing. I did it for a little while. Chris got really annoyed because she thought it was inconveniencing other people. It wasn't really. Well, essentially it's taking up 2 parking spaces. So it is essentially inconveniencing someone else, most likely Chris, who parks in another area where it's not exactly obvious from the video. But I would, oh my God, if I could park sideways, that would be the dream. I still wouldn't be able to clear the snow off of all the car, but I could clear the snow off of a little bit more of the car. It's so interesting because at my last place, I could go all the way around the car and clear off all the snow. Even though it was a ball ache, it was a job I enjoyed doing. It's like, right, I'm going to get my jacket on, I'm going to get the shovel, I'm going to shovel and brush. And it was a satisfying task, But now it's, I just have to ask for help and it's a bit annoying.
Yeah, I really think like that just kind of highlights that your independence depends on the environment, because if like me making a bed, for example, I can make a bed really easily and really effectively if the bed is in the middle of the room and I can get around all sides. So I can independently, make all the beds in the house if they're in the middle. But if it's up against the wall, well, you just took my independence away. And I can make the bed if I really wanted to, but it's going to be an ugly, bed. It's not going to be really tight corners or anything like that. So even like I move all my kids' beds away from the wall and it takes me friggin' ever to move the whole bed to make the bed. But I do that because that's how I have independence to make the bed. Mm-hmm. And like your car, it has to be a space big enough that you can get around it to shovel it out. Yeah, that's really frustrating. And also like in that like situation where like she doesn't want you to park sideways because it's inconveniencing other people. Sometimes you want to be like, except I'm inconveniencing myself for like the entire winter. But you still understand that point of view too, because like, so it's just one of those hard things that you don't want to be that jerk that people are like, what are you doing? Why are you parking that way? But also it's hard for you when you park the normal way.
Yeah, I understand. You were going to talk about, you said that on the subject of parenting, you had something else to add. when I spoke to you earlier on WhatsApp. What?
Oh yeah, I was just sharing some of the things that are like coping mechanisms essentially as a parent in a wheelchair. I did share the skating one, so like
Yeah.
finding things that are fun to do, like skating, that actually are easier as a parent in a wheelchair. Indoor winter things like indoor skating rinks, things like that. And then like the toboggan hills, things where you would normally want to take your kids sledding. In order to do that independently, I had to find ones that I could park and I could see the hill, which took a little bit of like, sleuthing to figure out. Um, I can't remember what else I was going to say. There was like a couple of things. Those were two of definite things that I was going to say about coping as a parent in a wheelchair. I can't remember off the top of my head if there was anything more. I think it was mostly just, yeah, figuring out how to take your kids to things that are sort of accessible, sort of not, because the snow is not accessible. But like every once in a while, my kids have like gone sledding, and then I'm like, where are they? And I can't even go
Yeah.
wheel to see where the hell
Yeah.
they went. And I'm like sitting there like trying to phone them. I'm like, eventually call Joe. I'm like, you got to come here. I can't see the kids. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll get in the
Well,
truck and come see if the kids are fine.
it's something that I was asking you a lot about the parenting a couple of weeks ago, but it's something that I wanted to bring up again because the snow must bring, well, the wheelchair, not the snow necessarily, but the wheelchair and the snow. It must bring up again just another thing that you can't do, like, oh, mummy or daddy can't go and do this, and you're on the edge, you're spectating, like, oh, have fun, like, and you're on the edge of the snow while they're off doing stuff, and Chris said, oh, would you be up for sledding? And I'd be like, no, absolutely not. She's like, why not? And it feels like I'm like poo-pooing on the idea, but I'm like, well, number one, I've got to transfer out of my wheelchair onto a sled, and then I'm at the mercy of whoever's pulling me, and it just takes away all my autonomy, and it doesn't sound like fun whatsoever. She's like, oh, why have you always got to be like that? I'm like, it's the furthest thing from, it's not, because, well, my legs are spazzy, like, it's cold. There's so many excuses that I can come up with, but it just absolutely no way. Like, it's a hard no for me. Like,
I would 1000% sled. I've only sledded
really?
one time, and it was for the Push, like when they were the producers of the show Push came to do my like they were just introducing me as a character. So they came to my house, we made breakfast, we did all this stuff, and then we were going to go sledding for the first time, and Joe was going to take me. And that winter, it had rained and iced over, so it was literal ice on the hill. It was not snow, it was 100% ice. Everybody had to put on like ice chip shoes to walk up the hill, the camera crew, everybody. And I got to the top of the hill. I'm like, I am going to die. We're going to die. It's ice. And like, it was not a fun sledding experience. It was okay in the end because Joe was like trying to slow us down, not kill us. And I was mostly laughing because the camera people were falling and trying to get the shot. And it was funny, but that was the only time I've ever really sledded. But I did see there's like, I can't remember where it is. I saw a TikTok of it. And I said it to Joe. It is a hill that has lanes, like it's actual sledding lanes, and the toboggan goes in the lane and you can't go out of the lane. I'm like, that's my sledding hill. It's awesome. And then I also saw this thing where like guys rig up a winch to like pull the sled back up. I'm like, I wouldn't even have to get off the sled. That I wouldn't care if it took away my autonomy if I could sled, because I'm like, I think it's so much fun. But I totally get what you mean. It's a little it's just, yeah, you're in a vulnerable situation, you're cold. And the only time I've ever been in the snow for very long, I froze so badly that I've like almost gotten hypothermic. Like I went to the hospital once when I went on the back of it was like a snowmobile pulling a trailer, and then I had to go to the hospital after because I was hypothermic. It was terrible. So I'm like, maybe not the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about this before, but it's worth mentioning again. Like, a lot of people say, oh, why don't you do sit skiing? And I'm like, well, so many reasons. Number one, the people that are really good at it make it look really easy, and they love it, right? I don't love it. I've tried it so many times, and I've just decided it's not for me. It's like, there's the suspension is nowhere near as good as like your knees, like when I was a snowboarder.
Have you tried cross country though?
No, I haven't. But
You should
I
try
do.
that because it's actually like it's a lot of work. Like you sweat and you have little poles and you have two skis, so you're not falling over. It is way better than downhill skiing. And you do get the little like downhills if you want to go, places that have a little downhills, but you're just coasting essentially, and it's work. Like you have to snow pick your way around, and I really like it. So you should try that. I really think you should try cross country sit skiing to figure out whether you would like it or
Yeah.
not.
You've said that to me before, and Chris has tried to encourage me to do that as well. So yeah, I should do. I should do.
You
But
should
also,
try
I,
it, at
I
least
I don't like being cold. Like I went the times I have been sit skiing, my legs and my feet were frozen, and like I say, I can feel when they're cold, and it's very unpleasant. And because of my lack of circulation, I have like quite a unique spinal cord injury. Everyone has a unique spinal cord injury,
Yeah.
but like I can't feel, I can't. The poor circulation means my feet are frozen cold, and I can feel that, and it's very uncomfortable to have frozen feet and frozen knees. Like for some reason, my calves and my thighs are okay, but my knees and my feet get so cold, and it's
No.
just very unpleasant. So yeah, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to be out in the snow. Like dragging me around in a sled is just on the list of things to do. It's so close to the bottom.
Yeah. It is, yeah, it's really tough. It's winter is really tough. It's hard to find things you like. And I agree. My knees get absolute ice cold. Like under my butt and my thighs are fine, but my knees, my shins, and my feet are actually fine. It's just my knees and my shins. Like it's crazy. So I have like some pretty warm winter boots. And I got snow pants too. I'm like, oh, to put the snow pants on, and then like it's just a lot. It's a lot of things to do. Yeah. There
Yeah.
was a thing up here that I wanted to highlight. I wanted you to just see if you would have wanted to address that. I'm amazed at how well Fred has completely disassociated from his old life. I was reminded of this with the adaptive MTB. I'm not sure what that is. What's the secret,
Mountain
Fredos?
bike.
Oh, so like how? Because you were so adventurous before, and you just kind of like, it's okay. That and that life's over. Like, how did you
Oh.
do that? Because I know a lot of people struggle with that a lot. Their whole identity is built around the things that they could do.
That's a great question, Greg, and it's not a simple answer. Basically, my whole identity was tied up with my abilities. Like I identified as a snowboarder, as a mountain biker, as a chef in a busy kitchen. They were a lot of people identify with their jobs, and so when that all got taken away from me, I had to like forge a new identity. Like I am no longer, the cool snowboarder because I was really good at snowboarding, and that is in a town like this, it's almost embarrassing to say, but that carries a lot of social currency. Like if you're really good on your snowboard, it's status.
You're cool.
Yeah, you're cool. And then when you get that taken away from you, you realize how lame being cool is. Like, or maybe it's like sour grapes. You're just like, oh, I used to be cool. You cool guy. You think you're so cool, you bloody losers. I don't know. But yeah, I used to be really cool, and that sucked because now, like, not only have I gone from like being cool, but I've gone from being cool to disabled, and I guess I'm still pretty cool. Like people think I'm definitely like
cool.
the cool disabled guy, but like I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. How well I have dissociated from my old life. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I went to the pub at the weekend for my friend's birthday, and on the table next to me. All the people I used to hang out with, and I looked at them in a weird way, as in like, oh, look at these guys, like they're all like really like they're clinging on to their youth, like I used to, like 43 years old, and these guys are all similar age to me, and they're all snowboarding and just sort of, I just saw them, and they were drinking like loads, and I don't drink anymore, so I was looking at them through a different lens, just thinking how sad it was. But that was that is so weird, because maybe that is why I've dissociated my old life, because I look back and how much I've grown into the new person I am, and how these guys are so unevolved because they essentially just living the life that I used to live. That's a really weird, I'm sort of literally processing this in real time now, but yeah, it is sour grapes. It is sour grapes. Because yeah, if I could go back to being snowboarding, of course I would, because it's an amazing sport that is just such a great freedom of expression and everything. So It's a really good question, Greg. You've got me thinking there, mate. It's
Yeah.
a very thought-provoking question. Appreciate it.
I think about this a lot because people ask me all the time, how do you get over it? I just can't get over it. And I just think that like you either decide to get over it or you don't. And there is no like this coping mechanism or whatever that like just flicked a switch that says like, oh, I use this coping mechanism to get over it. Like you just decide there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. And there is some sour grapes about it for sure. Like I wish that I could be that fun, like when I see Jamie play sports and I want to show her how to do a proper layup and playing basketball. Like I made it on the senior team when I was like in my first year of junior high. Like I was very good at sports and I hate that I can't show her that. And every time I tell them that, they're like, sure, mom, I bet you were so great. I'm like, fuck you. I was awesome. I was like, I was great. I was almost 14 and I was like playing with like 17-year-olds. So you can go like suck it, but they don't believe me because they've never been able to see it. And that's like super annoying. So there's sour grapes there where I'm just like, oh, it's so hard to watch when I want so badly to be able to show them how to do stuff that I was good at. And like you watching people snowboarding or whatever, like you're like, I was good at that once. But I do think that there is something to just getting over it. And it partially there is sour grapes there and that helps you get over it. And partially there is that like you grow up. There's a lot of things that you, and I would say you are evolved and more enlightened after you go through a traumatic experience. There are things that you have that other people don't have because they didn't experience that hardship and that you had to grow through. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like that's such a hard question to answer always because the answer is I just got over it. Like I just did. And that's such a hard answer. Like there's no real thing.
Thinking about it then, I think part of me getting over it is sort of looking back on the person I used to be with a bit of scorn, with like a bit of oh, I can't believe I used to be that guy. Now I'm so much better. And then I look at people that I used to hang out with like, oh, losers. And they're not at all. Like it's a coping mechanism. I think it's a coping mechanism. Yeah, you've got to, sour grapes is, I hadn't even considered that. That seemed, I thought I was, wow. Oh, Greg, that's a really good question, man. I'm going to have to journal about this.
Fred's going to do like another video, a stream of consciousness video, which I love. I love that you share your thoughts on the internet like that because I am not coherent, or I am coherent. I'm not eloquent enough when I'm speaking to just start talking about something that I'm feeling because I would just say a million times and not have any, semblance of I wouldn't
let that stop you, Brittany. I think you speak very well. You're very eloquent. In fact, I've noticed the last couple of episodes, I was going to tell you offline, but I may as well boost up your ego here, that you've been saying and like a lot less recently. And I think that you might have been making a special effort to do that. I'm not sure, but that doesn't normally happen by accident. So congratulations, I've noticed.
You know what? I just edited a video for the first time in 2 months and I couldn't count at all any like significant likes. So I was really proud of myself. I think I'm just getting less worried about taking a pause to think rather than trying to fill it with words. And that really comes from you because you just pause and it's not awkward when you pause to think. You just pause and then say the word that you're trying to think of. And that always freaked me out before. So, but yeah. I don't know. This helps. Going live really helps build your confidence speaking around people because doing things maybe like 4 years ago that I do confidently now, I would die. I would have died. Even just being on a speaker panel. I've been on 2 in the last like 2 months and didn't prepare for it because I was just like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about me. I don't need to prepare for it. And I was fine. I did great. I said what I wanted to say. Didn't get nervous about it, but you got to practice. And this is just us putting in the reps, man. We're putting in the reps. Yeah.
Exactly. So, another thing I wanted to say, I've left it so late, but this was another thing I wanted to say. Okay. Be careful what you wish for. You remember when I said, I really want a job. I want structure. I want routine. And then someone offered me a job at the supermarket and I made a video about it. I was like, I'm going to be the guy on the checkout. Isn't that great? I just got my schedule through.
No.
I have to start work at 6:45 a.m. Oh my God. I was like, what? I
Oh,
was like, no
that's
one
so
told me
rude.
that. No one told me that in the interview. I was like, I got to start work before the sun rises? I mean, come on. Jesus. If it snows,
Oh,
I'm going to be out there in the dark clearing the snow off my car. And I'm like, wow, like, I hadn't even considered that I would have to start so early. I was like, who even gets up that early?
oh, that's
Wow.
so brutal. Dude, that's
Brutal.
hard. That's really
Brutal.
hard. Oh, that's so bad. I don't know how to help you with that. That's one of those things that you're gonna have to just do it and see. Maybe you'll love it. Who
Yeah.
knows? And in the summertime, maybe it won't be as bad. But like when you are out before anybody's even awake
Yeah.
and can even see you struggling, like you could be stuck in the snow being like, somebody come get me. Like, Jesus Christ.
I know. The good thing is
Oh,
I finish at 1 o'clock, so I'll have plenty of time. I'll just have to readjust my circadian rhythm, or my body clock, because yeah, I am not attuned to that. I'm almost the opposite at the moment. It's into season. Like Chris and I, we get up around 9, sometimes 10, sometimes 11. We wake up quite nice. We have a coffee. Well, I've got French lessons this week, 9 o'clock every morning, and I've been getting up and like, oh, that'll be good. I'll get up and it'll be getting my body up in the morning, so I can get used to going to work, because that's roughly what time I'll probably start work. Nope. Nope. 6:45.
well, I get up at 5 or 5:30 every day. So I am not,
Oh.
it's not weird to me to get up early in the morning, but it takes me a solid hour and, hour to like get ready if I'm not showering or whatever. But because I try to get ready for my kids before they're up for school at 7. So I can be up for decently early, but there's one of my friends does a workout at 8 a.m. Eastern time and it's 6 a.m. my time. And I really was trying to do it. And I was doing it solidly for a while, but I was getting up at 4:45. I'm like, dude, that is too early.
Yeah.
It was just messing me up. So you're going to be right around that boat, like where you're getting up at like 5 every day. And it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard.
It's gonna be so hard at first, but I will get used to it. But what time? I'm gonna have to go to bed at 9:30.
I
Like,
know. And you don't want to be that guy that's like, I'm sorry, I can't start, especially when they offered you the job. Give it a try for sure. But like, I don't know. That is one thing that like, and we don't want to use our wheelchair as an excuse, but it definitely, you don't do bowel routine in the morning though. So
I
you
do
don't
sometimes.
do you?
I mean,
Okay.
I mean, if I work till 1, well, like sometimes I don't know. If you get up at 5 o'clock, I might not be ready for a poo at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Like I might have to attune my body to. Oh, maybe I'll just do a poo when I get back. I don't know. I have no idea. But you made a really good point. There's no way I'm going to be like, oh, by the way, that's way too early. Any chance I could start a bit later? I'm like, no, I've got the job.
No.
I will make an effort to get there for 6:45. And if for some reason it is a problem, I will explain that if and when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
But I can't just be like, yeah, sorry guys, you didn't say that during the interview. Like, crikey, can I come in at 9 instead? I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not gonna do that. Like,
I know. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. But it'll be interesting to see how you manage this, and it'll be a fun thing to talk about, especially around disability scheduling, getting enough sleep, all of the things that people don't really think about and often take for granted. Although I'm pretty like grateful that I sleep well when I sleep. I mean, I have a cousin that has insomnia, and I would rather be in a wheelchair than have what she has, because that is freaking brutal. So you should be fine as long as you go to bed early on time. And I tell you, like, from advice, don't take your phone to bed at all if you have to go to sleep at a certain time, and get books. I have books and books and books and books, and I just read like at least one a week usually, because I read before bed. I read in the morning for a little bit just to like wake up. And so, yeah, that's a good routine for me. And I don't know if you have sort of a bedtime wind down routine, but my phone absolutely can't be anywhere near me if I need to get a good sleep at all.
Yeah.
Because
I've said this before, but I always charge my phone in here. Like, my phone doesn't go into the bedroom.
Me either.
So yeah. Anyway, so that was such a shock. I was like, be careful what you wish for. If you like say, oh, please give me a job, I want structure and routine, like, make sure you're specific. 9 o'clock would be fine. 9 o'clock, be specific with what you want, because like sometimes
Yeah.
when the blessings rain down on you, they can come in different forms, unexpected. Like,
Totally. That is one of those interesting things. And Joe and I talk about this all the time because he gets very stressed out at his job sometimes. And he said to me the other day, like when we were just talking about this, he said, I wished for this. Like I wished for every single thing that I'm stressed out about now. And he's like, I have to remember that I wish for this, and I should be grateful for all of the blessings that I got. I got exactly what I wished for. And we do that so much. We're like, I want this, and then we get it, we're like, oh my god, this is a lot, and we don't know what to do with it. But sometimes, I'm telling you, the universe pushes us out of our comfort zone, or sometimes throws us off a cliff. Like,
yeah, right.
it's just like, you are way too comfortable right now, and I'm going to give you something that you need but don't necessarily want.
Do you remember when we were talking earlier on this year, and I was like, oh, I've got a YouTube channel, but I don't know what to make content about. Like,
Yeah.
what do I make videos about? My life's fucking boring, And now, like every struggle that comes up, I'm getting quality content.
Oh, so good. That's what I mean. I said the other day, like, I remember you asking me, like, when we first started this podcast, me like, how do you like stay on a consistent schedule? Like, I just don't know how you do it. And now we've like flip flopped entirely, where I'm just like, I watch your videos, I'm like, Jesus, he's got another one. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, get it together, Brittany. I'm like, but I'm so glad. And I love that your content right now is so thought provoking, like stream of consciousness type stuff, where it's just like, this is what it feels like while I'm going through this thing. And here's a few clips of what it looks like, but this is what it feels like. And I'm terrible at that because I don't talk about my feelings ever, because I like learned to bottle them up, because I was like, if I talked about my feelings, my parents got worried, or you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just like don't share that out loud a lot of the time, especially on my channel. But every time I do, it gets like crazy engagement, and I'm just like, I don't know why I don't do this more often. Just my stupid unedited videos where I'm just like, I'm a shitty person and this is how I'm feeling, and people are like, wow, I feel the same. So
Yeah.
I love it. I love your content, and this is going to be another great instigator of content.
Yeah. So one of the things that that Adolf Silva guy who got injured recently, the mountain biker, he's got like videos coming up. They're like vlogs, but they're just what he does in rehab. There's not any bits where he's just like, oh, this is how I'm feeling. I'm hopeful, I'm sad, I'm anything like that. It's just literally the logistics of his rehab, and I find those rather boring, and I don't want to like shit on him or anything. He's got a great following because he's like a famous mountain biker, but his videos, they're just time lapses of him doing rehab, and like playing with like wheelchair toys and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but how are you feeling, bruv? You know what I mean? Like, tell me how it feels to be freshly paralyzed. Like, I'm not I am comparing, but like my early videos were just all hey, this sucks, I just shit myself, I'm hopeful today. Oh, I went home today and I realized how hard it was going to be. And those really resonate with people, rather than just, I've progressed and I can, I can do a bit more of a transfer and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. And it's like, I read this book called Stories That Stick, and it's exactly what she talks about. She said, if somebody wrote a book that literally just talked about what the person did all day, it would take you through the same story necessarily, but it would be terrible. Like if you never knew what that person was feeling, what they were thinking, all that stuff. And even when you're in school, they teach kids to show, don't tell. So if you are talking about somebody being angry, show that they're angry with the way you're writing. Don't tell that they're angry. Don't say Bob was angry. Say like he was, his face was getting red and he was, I don't know, like, I don't know how to do it on the fly, but like, you have to think about what it feels like to be angry and write that. Don't say they're angry, and don't be like, don't show that what you're doing in a day. And I sometimes am really bad at that when I do my vlogs, and people will call me out on it. They'll be like, you went on this whole trip and you talked about, you transferring or whatever. And you talked about that, but you didn't talk about whether you were scared to go like into that bathroom, and you didn't show you doing anything. And so I have to do a better job of making it more story-like and showing the things that I'm actually going through instead of just, doing that like surface level, thing of what I'm doing. But yeah, I totally get what you mean. That the book Stories That Stick is so good. And I really, really want to be able to tell great stories. And do a better job of it. I write better than honestly, my newsletters, if anybody's, I'm going to start them again, but if anybody's in my email list, I feel like my newsletters or my emails are much more thought provoking, like emotional than my vlogs are, just because I'm so much better at putting things on paper and writing when I have to think about it rather than talking about it like this. So
Yeah, I get it. And I think because I've been on such a good run with videos lately, it's because I've been in situations that have been outside of my comfort zone. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to do a training for a croupier in a second language. Oh, I did a croupier tournament. Oh, I weed myself when I was dealing cards. And then just like other things, it's it's snowing, or like I got a new job, and I'm not going to be a croupier anymore, and then when I do my new job, I'll have more content to make, and it's just it's actually really nice because it's so interesting. Because if you think about, not necessarily through the lens of content, because it sounds a bit cringy, but the fact that life struggles are relatable, like I'm literally sharing my struggles, and people are like, oh my god, me too. And I'm like, thank you. And it's quite nice, because then that, like they say, a problem shared is a problem halved, and life struggles make life more colorful. Like, I was complaining about my life being boring, and now I'm like, it's snowing, and it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, be careful what you wish for. Didn't you want more of a challenge in your life? I'm like, you're right, I did want more of a challenge. And then try getting up at 6:45, or sorry, starting work at 6:45, and yeah, all these things that life throws at you, and they are literally, like Joe said, these are the things that we ask for. So don't complain when they come.
Totally. I'm just gonna read this comment here. Why don't you poll the audience for what types of content viewers want? Like, there's comment section of my YouTube videos, and here is like full of suggestions. If you want a video about something, you're welcome to always leave a comment or even email me, which I have a new email. I have like a real official email, Brittany@empoweredpara.com. So I'm like super pumped about that. So I'm going to forward my other email. It still works, empoweredpara@gmail.com. But I have like that very official email now because I got a new website and I got like Gmail for it. But yeah, anybody's welcome to like tell me what they want me to do a video on, unless you ask me the same time to show me how to use a catheter, where it goes in my pee hole. Because there's a few people that have asked me that a million times. But we want to see where it goes in your pee hole. Really? Yeah. You want to see my vagina just spread eagle? Yeah, absolutely. I'll do a video on that. Why not? Why wouldn't I put that on the internet?
Well, on the subject, and we'll end soon. We've overrun. I'm aware, but quite kind of sometimes when we get into a bit of a flow state, we're just
we're just talking now.
So on the subject of catheters, I've still got like a hurty willy, and I've still got like a little bit of urethral trauma. But sometimes sometimes I'll put it in, and I'll be like, ooh, and I can feel there's something like that. It's going past, like a little bit of scar tissue or something. Yeah. It's very sensitive. It hurts a lot. Every now and then, like blood will come out, and I'm like, oh, there's like blood on the end of the catheter, and I'm like, oh, that's nasty. And like sometimes I wince. I'm like, ooh, and Chris is like, it's been like a week now, man. Like, it's been over a week. Like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just like hoping it will just heal. Like, there's not much I can do. I could go to the doctor, but there's not really much I can do. It will just heal in time.
There's not really much, unless they put a suprapubic catheter in to let it heal, so you're not going in and out, which they could do. This is a very personal question, but does it hurt to like have sex? Like does it hurt other than putting a catheter in? It doesn't hurt unless you're cathing.
Yeah, it only hurts if I'm putting a big tube up there.
Yeah, that's what I meant. But it's not like swollen or anything. Because if it was like actually starting to like hurt other places, then that would be like something to watch out for. But if it's only hurting inside, then I'm not really sure. You could get a smaller catheter. Have you ever thought about getting like a pediatric catheter?
No,
because you can get 10 French, which are very skinny, and that would probably significantly reduce the friction and trauma. So if you could get a pediatric male catheter, I would do that. I don't know. I know that I used pediatric ones for years at night. And they're just a
Yeah.
10 French. They're very skinny. They're very small.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, it seems to be healing. It's going in and out. It's just like I know that it's sensitive. So if I feel like all I need is one careless like jab, and it'll be back to square one. So I'm just The other thing I wanted to quickly end on was the concept of asking people for videos. Like you can ask any suggestions are welcome. But my Patreon, that's where sometimes video ideas come from Patreon. People are like, oh, hey, make a video about this. I'm struggling with this, or show me your workout routine, or show me how you transfer. And so, yeah, I get suggestions on there as well. And I'm going somewhere with this. I don't have a magic trick today, but over on my Patreon, there's a glorious, glorious magic trick. The one I did for the wedding, which was one of the coolest, in my humble opinion, coolest magic tricks I've ever done. It's over there. It's for free. Patreon /Fredo the Wheelchair Guy. There'll be a link somewhere. And yeah, just click on that if you want to go and look at it for free. There's no, paywall or anything. But yeah, it's a cool vid. And that's the magic for today.
That's awesome. Before we go, I just want to mention that for anybody that's been following Brian's journey and knows he passed away, I'm going to stream his celebration of life on my channel, just because there's a lot of people, it's wintertime, that can't make it, and we were trying to figure out a way to stream it, and I was like, I may as well just stream it on my channel. And if anybody wants to watch, there's don't feel like, oh, I can't watch this, I didn't know him very well or whatever. You're welcome to watch. And it will be December 5th from 2 to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I'll try and post that somewhere, maybe on like my YouTube like community page, or I'll try and post it a couple of places so that people can find out the details if they're not watching this. But anyway, just wanted to end on that. And this was a fun, long one.
It was, yeah.
I always wonder if people are like so bored by the time that we're done. I know people watching like later on are probably like, oh, okay, why are you talking for an hour and a half? But
I think sometimes if you're part of the live, like it's quite engaging. But if you look at they've just released an hour and a half video, I can't be asked to watch that. Like perhaps it's a bit too long.
Totally. I know, I'm like, we should break it up maybe based on like the specific conversations and put it on Spotify, because that's what my cousins do. Like with their podcast, they like break it into 15-minute segments that people can just watch little sections of. But I don't know. You guys let us know. Is this too long? Are we going too long? Do you need us to like shut up after half an hour because you got shit to do? Or do you like being part of this live conversation? I really like when we're all together at this time every week, but that's just me.
To be totally honest, I think it'd be nice if we kept to an hour, but like after that, we just got into like a bit of a flow state back and forth. And I'm like, what's the point in cutting it off now? Like when we're just getting, we're loosened up, we're flowing. So yeah. Just really quickly before we go, when I was at the pub at the weekend, I was doing some magic for my friend's birthday. Oh, I haven't done magic in a while, and I forgot that you just get I thought I was a bit rusty. Oh my god, people were gushing over it. It was amazing. Well, I had a friend that went to the pub later on after I'd left, and he messaged me saying, "Oh mate, they're raving about your magic." And it was beautiful. Like I say, sometimes you're in a bit of a flow state. You end up doing some things. Also, like I say, when it comes to like magic, sometimes you just get lucky, and like sometimes things just seem more magical than they are, and it's just beautiful. And I was like, wow, everyone's like so impressed, and I really, really felt like a magician. And I was like, wow. So yeah, it was really cool, man. I'm really stoked.
That's really cool. And it just like in my mind when you were talking about this, and you were saying that like before the snowboarding made you cool and unique and all that stuff, like maybe you would never have found magic if you were still snowboarding and doing that kind of stuff. And this makes you very cool. I was telling my friends when I went for breakfast, the ones that are helping me, we're all planning Brian's celebration of life. And I was talking about you, and I was just like, he does magic. He like does all these cool things. And it's just it's a very neat talent to have, whether you're in a wheelchair or not. But being in a wheelchair makes it even cooler because you are wonderfully conspicuous, you are noticeable, and then that just like brings it over the top. So you know what, like I think that there's certain things that you could never predict about what life is going to bring you, and being in a wheelchair is not something you could have ever predicted. And also probably being a wheelchair magician is not something you
Yeah.
could have ever predicted. And that makes you super cool. So
Thanks, Brittany. Appreciate that.
yeah.
All right, cool. Right, we've taken up enough of your time.
Yeah.
We will see you next Tuesday. Thanks so much, everybody. Everyone watching live, everyone watching, but not live.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.